people come on this game, find innocent and naive children, drag them to different platforms such as Discord and have their way with them. And Rec Room says there's nothing they can do about it because it didn't happen on this game.
Is that what you went by when you doxed kids?
Hello everybody, today we're going to be looking over the short but dramatic history of the RecMob. Now, the RecMob was founded by RealDrilla, Carlo Gambino, Don C. Jackson, Skids, Tommy Varelli, Synergy, Stark DeLuca and Logan Varelli. This server was created to unite two servers that had beef for nearly a year and a half, the Commission and the Dons meeting. Now all went well, they had meetings, they had talks, and then they finally came to an agreement and opened the server with this short message. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the RecMob. We gather here today in this historical moment to see the community unite as one. After years of beef, separation and watching the community degrade, we are standing together under one flag. In the next coming days you will see more projects being added to the server. We're all working very hard, so please bear with us. Now, what I find ironic, and many of you might find ironic, is barely any projects have been added in the whole history of the RecMob. The RecMob bank was removed because it was just such a terrible idea and nobody used it. I don't think anybody even knew how to use it. That's how bad of an idea it was. The Mobster's Handbook is a very good and well written little handbook, but again, I don't think anybody uses it. The mob verification system, which is something I made, it was alright. I just didn't really think it out too much. Not many people really used it. The code of conduct, I'm not sure why this was removed. Again, this is something I made. I think it was removed again for people just not really using it. This just shows the lack of progress we've had in the RecMob. I think currently the only thing being used that has been added is the social coordinator program made by Father Josh. Anyways, just 8 days after it was founded and opened, problems started to show up. RealDrilla come into my DMs talking about how he wasn't happy with the RecMob developers. These two screenshots were sent to me on the day from the developer group chat, and then a couple minutes later he announced his first break. A few weeks later, the former XCOM team would start to give him some backlash for the doxing of Skids and Carl Cray. This happened in August last year. I wasn't in the community at the time, so I don't know the full story of these doxings, but all I do know is Driller was 20 years old. They were both 15 and 16 years old. They would also give Wannabe Wizard some backlash for being racist. The proof is blatant, I'm not going to go too much into that, but here is Driller's response. So today, Bartholomew posted a video where he was slamming me and Wannabe Wizard. I don't care about the wizard part, I care about the fact he is trying to make me look like a bad person using out of context clips. Now I'm not going to read it all because it's all been blown over and I generally just don't care about it. What was bad is Driller was bringing personal drama and beef into the community server which he helps run. The out of context clip was the one where he goes,
"Yo, kid, I might just screw you."
Which in all fairness to Bartholomew, RealDrilla shouldn't be saying that, especially given his position and his age. Then Bartholomew added more insult to injury. He just kept on going with the videos. Driller wasn't liking this. It was making him rethink his whole time on Rec Room, and then he dropped this message in the announcements and announced that he was leaving the community. Anyways, after this, not much happened for about 2 weeks until the second founder, Tommy Varelli, left. This was simply because he wanted to take a break from Rec Room and felt like he couldn't manage the Varelli family and the RecMob position at the same time. However, just a day after this, the RecMob founders had a complete disagreement. This left Don C. Jackson, Carlo Gambino, Synergy and Stark to leave the server. After this, people didn't really know what was going to happen to the RecMob. However, the remaining founders, Skids and Logan Varelli, assured everybody that new developers would be coming in and that the old ones were just blinded by nostalgia. Anyways, after this, new developers did come in, ideas began getting drafted up again, fresh faces who we'd never seen take on positions of power like this before. They were without controversy and began helping the community. It began to seem like the RecMob was finally back on the right track. However, like every single period of harmony in this community, this was short-lived. The fresh faces that come into the developer role started to gain controversy. Lack of communication between the community and the developer team started to become a real big problem. And then a lack of inactivity like the former developers started to become pretty prominent as well. This alerted the face that we hadn't seen in a couple months in a position of power. RealDrilla.
You're a kid, I might just screw you.
He started to become a bit more prominent in the community's voices, and he started to become a quite loud criticizer of the RecMob developers. At first, this was fine. He's a very influential figure of the community. He's entitled to his opinion and freedom of speech. However, it started to go downhill when this started to happen. Cue the montage. So yeah, he brought back the Dons meeting. This is like the 14th version of the Dons meeting. This time around, he's got 10 developers in there. 10 different people in a high position running the gaff. One of them has already been removed for joking about someone being raped. A couple of the others haven't really done anything. A few of them have shown that they're really immature. And some of them are just there because it's a free role and it's a high position. They even let TWD in, for fuck's sakes. TWD, the Gimper Gimps, the guy who used to draw Mr. Wilford in his spare time just because he had nothing else to do. TWD is literally 12 years old, for fuck's sakes, and he's always in general chat in the RecMob, ranting about some random shit. But yeah, other than that, Driller has focused their news on slating my news, and every time they do, they get everything completely incorrect. Like them complaining about Driller not being on the BGN Awards ballot when the nomination started before TDM came back. And also, it's for the whole month, not 2 days. They was then like, oh, no one from TDM was on the ballot, even though Ronnie was, and he later apologised for that. So yeah, it's back and it's being run by some immature clowns. They've been clowning on the RecMob even though the RecMob have been quiet. I've been speaking to some developers and they're just riding through the storm. They want to see what happens next, and they're also planning on doing some other things as well. However, while I was making this video, Skids retired from the RecMob after a couple months. That leaves only one founder left, and he's the most inactive. He's only sent 90 messages in the server, for fuck's sakes. But yeah, who knows what's going to happen to community servers. On one hand, you've got TDM removing XComs and having their developers joke about rape, while the RecMob, probably the best community server we've ever had, is inactive. So are the developers. All the founders have pretty much left and we don't know where it is going. But yeah, that is pretty much it.